I'm Malcolm Van Delst, and this is an excerpt from Do the Wrong Thing, a book series or extra long novel that opens with a woman trying to kill herself. She says, I don't know why I tried to do this, and by way of explanation, tells her life story. We're about 120 some pages into book 3, whose working title is Shiny Pretty Gothic. Last week in Do the Wrong Thing, Ava met Edward's family and his drug connections, while Neil and Rick started using her and Michelle's loft to throw parties. This is the end of a chapter called One Step Back and Resting. I think it's the end of the chapter, One Step Back and Resting in a Supply Closet. Edward loses his under-the-table construction job, leaving him completely dependent on welfare. He has to give up his solo apartment and find a roommate. He ends up in an apartment north of the village with tall, thin, homely Adam, who, like Edward, thinks of himself as a musician. Eternally slouched Adam is dirtier than Edward, clothes rattier. He busks at the Cleveland Street Exchange, an unusual choice, the last stop on the metro going south. We only know he plays there because Daryl, who lives at Auden's Malhot's apartment, told us. He played with 3 strings, strumming the same chords over and over again. Daryl laughs. Shocked, I look at Edward, but he looks away. We go round to the back of a building on Malhot Street, up some stairs and across a long, narrow porch that runs past a series of identical white, half-windowed doors trimmed in cornflower blue, each with a matching oblong series of 8 window panes, also trimmed in blue. Below us, a parking lot services this building and the series of small businesses that face onto Malhot. The tourist bars, restaurants, and fancy boutiques start to block up, though, while the businesses here, aside from one cafe, are head, pizza, and donair shops. I wonder about all the windows. These apartments don't seem secure. Oh, the door to the apartment we stop at is wide open anyway. Hello? Neil calls inside. Strumming guitar and voices, the smell of marijuana and incense, no reply. Right inside the door, 2 massive white tarp bags hold fat, dusty carrots and small, dirt-encrusted potatoes. A long, old-fashioned sink sits in front of the oblong, 8-windowed pane configuration. Beside it, a short counter wraps around the corner under and over tall white cupboards. A mismatched stove and fridge float against the remaining yellowed wall. On the floor, peeking out from the dust and grime, maps of gold veins against dark blue-green tiles. These tiles are smashed and breaking off around the edges, revealing a fragile thinness. We pass into a hallway, walls and ceiling covered in the same Indian cotton style sheets Rick used in the warehouse to separate my bedroom from the parties. The smell of sweat, marijuana, and now incense heightens. The same style of Indian cotton sheets shrouds the living room. Who lives here? I whispered to Neil. He smiles slowly. Who knows? He laughs in a detached, dreamy way, as if he's thinking about something he's not saying. Auden and Luke, he adds. He points to a skinny, lank-haired Quebecois guy who nods a greeting. But they don't care who sleeps here. Find a space on the floor. Neil laughs again. We join a circle of people I've never met, except for Auden, around a guitar player who plucks and strums Smoke on the Water, Purple Haze, and other 60s classics. We open our beers, don't talk. The guitar is passed to a new guy. He plays Blowing in the Wind, but instead of words, he sings phonetic approximations in a heavy Quebecois accent. When he stops and addresses the circle, his French is so fast and slang-filled, I have no idea what he's saying. It doesn't even sound like French. Joints go round. So many I start waving them past. After a while, Neil suggests we go to the cafe across the street, where I sit on a low wooden bench with my back straight up against a wall. The place is mostly empty, though. Newspapers, littered tables, and chairs are pushed haphazardly around as if a crowd had recently cleared out. My hair is slicked back in a severe ponytail. I'm wearing a navy office girl sweater and that wrong-hued red lipstick that turns my lips into a character detached from my face. Edward, beside me, fits in with the drifter stoner hippies who have joined us, but he addresses and focuses on me. He keeps looking at my mouth. I don't know why it matters, but I order red wine. I didn't mind the first party, nor the second, but the third and fourth bored and annoyed me, and they kept coming. I tell Michelle that I need my own space, which is weird, yeah. I've been accepted into the pre-art class at Affinitas. And if I pass, I'll go on to the main program next fall or even earlier in the summer for a few classes. Well, I don't technically need space since Affinitas provides main program students with painting areas. It would be handy, not to mention a feather in my cap, something that would bring me respect from the other students. But Rick, Neil, and now Edward, plus their other assorted friends, are always around. Not my doing, Michelle's. Well, kind of my doing. I could say no, I guess. I guess we're all trying. Scratch that. I'm trying to hold on to that bubble of joy I felt with Edward when we first got together. If I'm honest, I'm also running by moving. If I said no to more parties, Michelle wouldn't move out. The boys wouldn't sneer or stop talking to me. Maybe at first they would. Would Edward drop me? Get with that younger girl? Panic? Even if it's not perfect, being with him is better than being alone. I end up finding a small, dark basement suite a few blocks from Affinitas. From the street, you press a metal bar across the center of a glass door, past an office, a travel agency where I'll pay my rent, go down some stairs, and there, in a corner, the door to my new apartment. The only window inside graces a heavy door at the back of the suite with a big metal hinge at the top opening from a tiny room that will become my bedroom into an even smaller, graveled courtyard type space. Barely large enough for a lounger and surrounded all sides by yellow brick walls dotted a story up and beyond with office windows. I don't know the purpose of the space. Ventilation, maybe? The apartment is tiled in the same beige flecked linoleum you see in most institutions, like my old high school. Incredibly cheap for being right downtown, so I take it. I buy a burgundy hanging lamp with long gold tassels and drape scarves and beads around in the first room. I didn't like the Goths, wasn't accepted by them, so I revert to bluesy 60s. The decor I choose feels like a dress I'm trying on that doesn't fit right. This is a repurposed supply closet. I am still Beckett without all the space of the loft. I've just added Bartleby. Breakfast at Edward's, hash and coffee. Mid-morning snack, hash and coffee. Lunch, hash and coffee. Two knives jut permanently from the swirls of the stove's front right burner. I start a story about a woman making coffee from 3 powders: Nescafe, Coffee Mate, and sugar. She rinses a dirty cup from the sink and uses hot water from the tap. Up before Edward, I'm in the kitchen reading The Last Temptation of Christ. What the fuck? Edward appears like a phantasm against the room's turquoise wall, grinning crookedly. I stare, trying to grasp his tattered beige and brown Mexican poncho, the greasy, crushed Australian-style wide-brimmed hat, half ghost, half beggar, asking for change. Don't you have your interview? I sputter. Yep, he says. He's interviewing at a recording studio or some get-off-welfare, make-work program. It's pouring rain, I say, motioning to the condensation-covered window and watery gray beyond. Yep, he agrees. He grins like Jack Nicholson in The Shining. What about your guitar? He's carrying his guitar in a battered case that will not last through this downpour. What about it? He snaps. I look away. This humiliation washes over me. What if Emmett or someone from the old crowd sees him, has seen me with him, and realizes we're together? I mean, I don't see those people anymore, but I have some self-respect.